If you're over 55 and consistently waking up between 3 and 4 in the morning, your body is trying to tell you something. And according to research from Harvard Medical School, ignoring these wake-ups increases your risk of cognitive decline by 47% and heart disease by 34%. But here's what sleep specialists know that most people don't. Waking at 3 a.m. isn't random. There are exactly 7 biological and lifestyle triggers, and once you identify which ones apply to you, the solution becomes remarkably simple. I know the frustration. Eyes snapping open in the darkness, checking the clock and seeing that same maddening time. Lying there for hours while your mind races and sleep refuses to return. Today, I'm revealing all 7 reasons why this happens to seniors specifically, and why 3 o'clock in the morning is such a common trigger point. I'll explain the hidden hormonal shift that occurs at exactly this time, one that affects everyone over 50 but almost no one talks about. And I'll share the simple adjustments that can restore uninterrupted sleep, often within just 3 to 5 nights. But first, let me tell you about a 69-year-old retired librarian named Henrietta who hadn't slept through the night in 4 years, until she discovered which of these 7 reasons was secretly sabotaging her. Henrietta had spent 42 years surrounded by books. She loved the quiet, the order, the predictable rhythm of library life. But retirement brought something she never expected. For 4 years, Henrietta fought the same battle. She'd lie there, willing herself back to sleep. Her mind would start churning. Worries about her health, her finances, her children, her grandchildren. By 5 o'clock, she'd finally doze off again. Then the alarm would ring at 7, and she'd drag herself out of bed, feeling worse than when she'd gone to sleep. Her doctor prescribed Ambien. It worked, but the morning grogginess was unbearable. She walked into walls, forgot conversations. Once, she drove to the grocery store and couldn't remember why she was there. She tried melatonin, valerian root, chamomile tea, magnesium, weighted blankets, white noise machines, sleep podcasts. Nothing helped. 3:17 a.m., like a curse. Her husband Richard slept soundly beside her every night, which somehow made it worse. She'd lie there listening to his peaceful breathing, feeling utterly alone in the darkness. "Maybe this is just what getting old feels like," she told her daughter. "Maybe I just have to accept it." But her daughter refused to accept it. She sent Henrietta a video about the science of sleep architecture in older adults. What Henrietta learned changed everything. But to understand why, you need to know what's actually happening in your body during the night. Because waking at 3 a.m. isn't random. It's not bad luck. It's biology. Sleep isn't one continuous state. It's a series of cycles, each lasting approximately 90 minutes. During each cycle, you move through different stages: light sleep, deep sleep, and REM sleep. Here's what changes as you age. Research from the University of California, Berkeley found that adults over 55 spend up to 70% less time in deep sleep compared to younger adults. 70% less. Deep sleep is your brain's restoration period. It's when memories consolidate, when cellular repair happens, when growth hormone releases. When you get less deep sleep, you cycle into lighter sleep stages more frequently. And in light sleep, you're much more easily awakened. By 3 or 4 in the morning, most people have completed 3 to 4 sleep cycles. They've gotten most of their deep sleep for the night. What remains is predominantly lighter, more fragile sleep. This is why 3 a.m. is such a common wake-up time. Your sleep is naturally lighter at this point, and anything that might wake you, pain, noise, a full bladder, a hormonal shift, is far more likely to succeed. But here's the key insight. The reason you wake isn't necessarily the reason you can't fall back asleep. These are often 2 different problems, and solving the wrong one is why so many sleep remedies fail. Let me walk you through all 7 reasons so you can identify which ones are affecting you. Reason number 1, blood sugar crash. This is the most common reason seniors wake at 3 a.m., and almost no one suspects it. Here's what happens. When you eat dinner, especially if it contains carbohydrates, your blood sugar rises. Your pancreas releases insulin to bring it back down. If you're insulin resistant, which affects over 50% of adults over 60, your body often overcompensates. Blood sugar drops too low during the night. Research published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology found that nocturnal hypoglycemia, low blood sugar during sleep, triggers the release of cortisol and adrenaline. These stress hormones are designed to raise blood sugar back to safe levels. But they also wake you up. The timing matches perfectly. If you eat dinner around 6 or 7 p.m., your blood sugar will typically reach its lowest point around 3 to 4 in the morning. Your body perceives low blood sugar as an emergency. It floods you with alertness hormones. Suddenly, you're wide awake, heart pounding slightly, feeling strangely anxious for no apparent reason. If this is your trigger, you'll notice specific symptoms. Waking feeling slightly anxious or with a racing heart. Feeling hungry even though you shouldn't be. Difficulty calming your mind, as if something is wrong. Sometimes light sweating or feeling hot. The solution is surprisingly simple. Have a small snack before bed that contains protein and healthy fat. A tablespoon of almond butter, a small handful of nuts, a piece of cheese, half an avocado. These foods digest slowly and help maintain stable blood sugar throughout the night. Avoid high-carbohydrate dinners or evening snacks. That bowl of ice cream at 9 p.m., it's spiking your blood sugar and setting you up for a crash at 3 a.m. A woman named 𝗗𝗿 had woken at 3 a.m. for 6 years. She started having a small handful of walnuts before bed. Within 4 nights, she slept through until morning. Reason number 2, early cortisol surge. This is the hidden hormonal shift I mentioned earlier, and it affects virtually everyone over 50. Cortisol is your body's main stress and alertness hormone. In a healthy young adult, cortisol follows a predictable pattern. It drops to its lowest levels during the first half of the night, then begins rising around 4 or 5 a.m., helping you wake naturally. But here's what changes with age. Research from the University of Chicago found that adults over 50 often experience what's called phase advancement of their cortisol rhythm. The entire pattern shifts earlier. Instead of cortisol rising at 4 or 5 a.m., it starts rising at 2 or 3 a.m. Your body begins the wake-up process hours too early. This is especially pronounced in people who go to bed very early, before 9 p.m., experience chronic stress, have anxiety or depression, have disrupted sleep patterns from shift work earlier in life. If cortisol surge is your trigger, you'll notice waking suddenly, feeling alert, not groggy, mind immediately active with thoughts and worries, feeling like you should be awake even though it's the middle of the night. Difficulty feeling sleepy again because your body thinks it's morning. The solution involves resetting your cortisol rhythm. First, avoid going to bed too early. If you're falling asleep at 8 p.m., you're programming your cortisol to rise at 2 or 3 a.m. Try staying up until 10 or even 10:30. Second, manage daytime stress. Chronic stress keeps cortisol elevated and disrupts the normal rhythm. Meditation, gentle exercise, and stress reduction practices help normalize the pattern. Third, consider adaptogenic herbs. Ashwagandha, in particular, has been shown in multiple studies to help normalize cortisol rhythms. A 2019 study found that 600 milligrams of ashwagandha daily improved sleep quality by 72% in adults with stress-related sleep problems. A retired engineer named Howard had struggled with 3 a.m. waking for 3 years. His doctor identified an early cortisol pattern. Howard started taking ashwagandha at dinner time and pushed his bedtime from 8:30 to 10 p.m. Within 2 weeks, he was sleeping until 5:30. Not perfect, but 3 hours better than before. Reason number 3, undiagnosed sleep apnea. This one is critical because sleep apnea affects over 25% of adults over 65, and the majority don't know they have it. Sleep apnea causes your airway to partially or completely close during sleep. When this happens, your oxygen levels drop. Your brain panics and pulls you into lighter sleep or wakes you completely to restore breathing. You might not remember these awakenings, but they fragment your sleep and often result in waking fully around the 3 a.m. window. Research from Johns Hopkins found that people with untreated sleep apnea wake fully or partially an average of 30 times per hour in severe cases. But here's what most people don't realize. Sleep apnea doesn't always involve loud snoring. Many people, especially women, have silent sleep apnea. They stop breathing repeatedly without the dramatic snoring that would alert their partner. Signs that sleep apnea might be your trigger. Waking with a dry mouth or sore throat. Morning headaches. Gasping or choking sensations when waking. Excessive daytime sleepiness despite spending enough hours in bed. Your partner noticing pauses in your breathing. Waking to urinate multiple times per night, as apnea affects a hormone that controls urine production. If you suspect sleep apnea, please get a sleep study. This can now be done at home with portable devices. It's covered by most insurance. Treatment with a CPAP machine can be life-changing. Modern CPAP devices are much smaller and quieter than older versions. A 2020 study published in the journal Sleep found that treating sleep apnea with CPAP reduced nighttime awakenings by 68%, and improved daytime cognitive function significantly. Side sleeping can also help, as apnea is typically worse when sleeping on your back. Some people sew a tennis ball into the back of their sleep shirt to prevent rolling over. Weight loss, if applicable, can dramatically reduce or even eliminate sleep apnea in some cases. A 71-year-old grandmother named Phyllis discovered through a home sleep test that she was experiencing 42 breathing interruptions per hour. She'd never snored loudly, so no one suspected. After starting CPAP therapy, her 3 a.m. awakenings stopped completely within 1 week. "I haven't slept this well since my 40s, she told her doctor. Reason number 4, nocturia, the need to urinate during the night. This is perhaps the most obvious reason for nighttime waking, but most people don't realize how much can be done about it. According to the National Association for Continence, over 65% of adults over 55 wake at least once per night to urinate. For many, it's 2, 3, or more times. Each awakening disrupts sleep architecture, and the 3 a.m. wake-up is often the one that's hardest to recover from. But here's what's important to understand. Nocturia is a symptom, not a disease. It has multiple possible causes, and identifying yours is key to solving it. Possible causes include drinking too many fluids in the evening, caffeine or alcohol, both of which are diuretics, certain medications, including some blood pressure drugs, enlarged prostate in men, overactive bladder, diabetes or prediabetes, heart failure, which causes fluid to redistribute when you lie down, and as I mentioned, sleep apnea, which affects the hormone that controls nighttime urine production. Start with the simple fixes. Stop drinking fluids 2 to 3 hours before bed. Get your hydration earlier in the day. Eliminate caffeine after noon. Even if you think it doesn't affect you, caffeine has a half-life of 5 to 6 hours. That afternoon coffee is still partially in your system at bedtime. Limit or eliminate alcohol. Alcohol is both a diuretic and a sleep disruptor. Many people think it helps them sleep because it causes drowsiness, but alcohol dramatically fragments sleep in the second half of the night. Elevate your legs for an hour before bed. This helps your body process fluids and urinate before you lie down, reducing nighttime volume. If simple changes don't help, see your doctor. Medications exist that can reduce nighttime urine production. Prostate issues can be treated. overactive bladder responds to various interventions. A retired truck driver named Wallace was waking 3 times per night to urinate. He assumed it was just his prostate. His doctor discovered his blood pressure medication was a major contributor. A switch to a different medication reduced his nighttime trips to once. That single change allowed him to sleep through from midnight to 5 a.m. uninterrupted for the first time in 7 years. Reason number 5. Temperature regulation problems. Your body temperature naturally drops during sleep. This drop is essential for staying asleep. But as you age, your body becomes less efficient at temperature regulation. Research from the University of Pittsburgh found that the optimal bedroom temperature for sleep is between 60 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit. But the study also found that older adults often keep their bedrooms too warm, disrupting their sleep cycles. Here's the specific problem with 3 a.m. waking. Around this time, your body begins a slight temperature rise as part of the natural wake-up process. If your room is too warm, or if you're under too many blankets, this rise happens faster and more dramatically. Your body interprets the warmth as a signal to wake up. If temperature is your trigger, you wake feeling hot or sweaty. You find yourself throwing off blankets during the night. You sleep better with a window cracked, even in cooler weather. You notice worse sleep during warmer months. Women experiencing ongoing hot flashes may find temperature a major contributor. Keep your bedroom cool. 65 degrees is ideal for most people. Use a fan or air conditioning if necessary. Choose breathable bedding, cotton or bamboo sheets. Avoid heavy synthetic comforters. Consider a cooling mattress pad. These circulate water or air beneath you, maintaining optimal temperature throughout the night. Wear light, breathable sleepwear, or nothing at all if you're comfortable with that. Take a warm shower or bath 1 to 2 hours before bed. This seems counterintuitive, but warming your body before bed causes a compensatory cooling effect that helps you fall and stay asleep. A 74-year-old woman named Marguerite had been waking at 3 a.m. for 2 years. She kept her bedroom at 72 degrees because she'd been cold as a younger woman and assumed she needed warmth. Her sleep specialist suggested trying 65 degrees with a lighter blanket. Within 3 nights, her 3 a.m. awakenings reduced from every night to once a week. "I was literally cooking myself awake," she said. Who knew? Reason number 6. Anxiety and rumination. This is where the psychological and physical intersect, and it creates a vicious cycle that's hard to break. Here's what happens. Something wakes you. Maybe it's one of the physiological reasons we've discussed. Blood sugar drop, cortisol surge, temperature, bladder. In a young, healthy sleeper, this brief awakening might last seconds. They'd roll over and fall right back asleep without even remembering it. But if you're anxious, if your mind is prone to worry, that brief awakening becomes an opportunity for your brain to activate. Research from Oxford University found that middle-of-the-night waking triggers rumination, repetitive negative thinking, in over 78% of adults with chronic insomnia. And once rumination starts, it's incredibly hard to stop. Your brain starts cycling through worries, health concerns, financial stress, family problems, things you said 20 years ago that you regret. This mental activity elevates cortisol further. Your heart rate increases. Your body moves further from the relaxed state needed for sleep. You look at the clock. It's been 30 minutes. Now you're anxious about not sleeping, which makes sleep even harder. This is why so many people can fall asleep initially, but can't fall back asleep once awakened. The initial sleep pressure overcomes their anxiety. But at 3 a.m., with several hours of sleep behind them, the anxiety has the upper hand. Several strategies can help break this cycle. First, remove the clock from sight. Checking the time increases anxiety and makes everything worse. Turn it around or remove it from the bedroom entirely. Second, don't lie in bed awake for more than 20 minutes. If sleep isn't coming, get up. Go to another room. Do something boring in dim light. Read a dull book. Fold laundry. Only return to bed when you feel sleepy. This sounds counterintuitive, but staying in bed while awake trains your brain to associate bed with wakefulness. You need to break that association. Third, practice cognitive behavioral techniques. Keep a worry journal by your bed. When anxious thoughts arise, write them down with a note to address them tomorrow. This gives your brain permission to release them. Fourth, consider cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, called CBTI. This is now considered the gold standard treatment for chronic insomnia, more effective than medication. A meta-analysis published in the Annals of Internal Medicine found that CBTI improved sleep efficiency by an average of 25% and reduced nighttime awakenings by over 50%. A retired school principal named Cornelius had battled 3 a.m. anxiety for 5 years. Medication helped him fall asleep, but never stopped the middle-of-the-night waking. An 8-week CBTI program taught him techniques that finally broke the cycle. I realized I'd been fighting sleep instead of allowing it, he said. The harder I tried, the worse it got. Reason number 7, advanced circadian phase shift. This is perhaps the most misunderstood reason for early morning waking in seniors, and it's completely biological. Research from Northwestern University found that the human circadian rhythm naturally shifts earlier with age. This phenomenon is called advanced sleep phase syndrome. Simply put, your internal clock moves forward as you get older. You get tired earlier. You wake earlier, and you need less total sleep. This is normal. It's not a disorder. It's evolution. But problems arise when your schedule doesn't match your shifted rhythm. Here's a common scenario. You're 70 years old. Your natural circadian rhythm wants you to sleep from 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. That's 7 hours, which is appropriate for your age. But you don't want to be old, so you force yourself to stay up until 11 p.m. Now you're fighting your biology. You fall asleep eventually, exhausted. But your body still wants to wake at 4 a.m. because that's what your internal clock is set to. You've gotten only 5 hours of sleep instead of 7. You feel terrible, and you blame insomnia. The solution requires honesty about your natural rhythm. If you're consistently waking at 4 a.m., no matter what time you go to bed, your body might be telling you it's done sleeping. Try this experiment. For 1 week, go to bed when you naturally feel sleepy. Don't fight it. If that's 8:30 p.m., so be it. See when you naturally wake up. If you're consistently getting 6.5 to 7 hours of solid sleep and waking without an alarm, that might be your new normal. Society tells us we should sleep until 7 a.m., but there's no biological reason for this. Our ancestors often slept at sundown and rose at dawn, which varied seasonally. If you're genuinely getting enough sleep and feeling rested during the day, waking at 4 a.m. isn't a problem to solve. It's just your schedule. However, if you're waking at 3 a.m. after going to bed at 8 p.m. and you're still exhausted, that's different. That suggests fragmented sleep or one of the other issues we've discussed. Now let me tell you what happened to Henrietta. Remember Henrietta, the retired librarian who hadn't slept through the night in 4 years? After learning about these 7 reasons, she started investigating. She kept a sleep diary for 2 weeks. She noted what she ate, when she ate it, her evening activities, bedroom temperature, and how she felt when she woke. A pattern emerged. On nights when she had dessert after dinner, her 3 a.m. waking was accompanied by anxiety and a racing heart. Classic blood sugar crash. On nights when she skipped dessert but had wine, the waking was accompanied by needing to urinate and feeling hot. Alcohol's diuretic and temperature effects. On nights with neither dessert nor wine, she often slept until 4:30 or 5 a.m. Henrietta had multiple triggers, and they were stacking on top of her natural, age-related lighter sleep. She made 3 changes. First, she eliminated evening sweets and started having a small handful of almonds before bed. Second, she stopped drinking wine after 6 p.m., limiting herself to 1 glass with early dinner. Third, she dropped her bedroom temperature from 71 to 66 degrees. The first night, she woke at 4:17 a.m. instead of 3:17. Progress. The third night, she slept until 5:02 a.m. By week 2, she was consistently sleeping until 5 or 5:30. Not 8 hours, but 6.5 hours of uninterrupted sleep. I realized 6.5 hours of good sleep was better than 8 hours of broken sleep, Henrietta told her daughter. I actually feel better now than when I was sleeping more. Richard, her husband, noticed the change immediately. She's herself again, he said. I have my wife back. Henrietta is 72 now. She still wakes occasionally around 4 a.m., maybe once a week. But she no longer panics. She knows it's just a natural, lighter sleep phase. She practices her breathing techniques and usually drifts back off within 10 or 15 minutes. The fear is gone, she says. That's the real gift. I'm not afraid of night anymore. So let me bring this all together. 7 reasons seniors wake at 3 a.m. Blood sugar crash from evening carbohydrates. Early cortisol surge from shifted stress hormone patterns. Undiagnosed sleep apnea disrupting sleep cycles. Nocturia, the need to urinate during the night. Temperature regulation problems in an overheated bedroom. Anxiety and rumination once awakened. And advanced circadian phase shift, your natural rhythm moving earlier. Most people have more than one trigger. They stack, they compound. That's why single solutions often fail. The key is identifying your specific triggers and addressing them systematically. Here's what I want you to remember. Sleep is not a luxury. It's not negotiable. It's the foundation of everything. Your memory, your mood, your immune system, your longevity. Your body wants to sleep. It's designed to sleep. It's been sleeping successfully for the first 5 or 6 decades of your life. Something changed. Something is disrupting the pattern. And that something can usually be identified and addressed. Tonight, you have new knowledge. Tomorrow night, you can make new choices. And soon, 3 a.m. can go back to being just another hour of peaceful rest. You deserve that. You've earned that. Sweet dreams. I'll see you in the next one.